Breaking today, Meghan Markle is turning her back on her solemn vow to Omid Scobie never to re-enter Britain. She will be back next month with Archie, Lily and Prince Harry in what is an audacious and sick bid to reverse Megxit. I think this is a disgusting decision, which appears to have been signed off by King Charles III. And the timing of this announcement today is particularly disgusting, given that this was meant to be Prince William and Catherine's moment at Royal Ascot. And let's think for 1 minute about what is going through the head of the future King and Queen of England, who are absolutely determined to keep their troublemaking relatives in exile for the rest of their lives because they know deep down in their souls that these two are trying to ruin the British royal family. So King Charles, what are you doing? British government, what are you doing? And while I completely agree that it was disgusting the way that Meghan and Harry were using their children as some type of blackmail tool, I have long provided the blueprint as to how they could arrive privately with no extra security to take the grandchildren to see Charles at Balmoral, and that is all that was required. So we are going to get into all of the breaking news today, what the mainstream media is saying, what's really going on. We're also going to have powerful analysis from Royal YouTube Sensation, according to Taz. But the way that this story has broken out of Bronte K in Australia is very interesting too. So here's the headline. It dropped on news.com.au just as it was widely known that Catherine and William were going to be attending Royal Ascot today. So do not tell me that is a convenience. That is a coincidence, people. That was absolutely an announcement designed to take the attention away. And it was very much clearly briefed by Montecito. Headline: Prince Harry, Meghan and their 2 kids to return to the UK in a matter of weeks. Branded and exclusive. In the top line, the reporter Bronte Coy goes with this line that it is because of a great sadness that Harry feels at the disconnect with his home country. So immediately trying to emotionally manipulate us into believing that in some way Harry is doing the right thing, despite the fact that his behaviour for years is the reason that we are in this position and the reason why the British royal family has been threatened. News.com.au can exclusively reveal that the entire family is planning to make the trip from Montecito, California, in line with Duke of Sussex's 1 year to go Invictus events in Birmingham in mid-July. It does not appear there are plans for the family to relocate to the UK permanently, wait for it, at this stage. At this stage. They're seriously trying to dismantle Megxit. They've got another thing coming. Here is the source quote. It's been a real point of great sadness for Harry especially that he's been unable to bring his wife and kids back to the UK safely to reconnect with family and friends, but anyone would understand his desire to put their safety first. A source close to Harry told news.com.au of his decision. Now, this is gaslighting. It's pure gaslighting because Harry has been safe. Every time he's come, the children would have been safe, far safer than they have been in Ukraine or Colombia or Chicago. He went on, he would love to introduce the children to his wider family, to show them the UK where he grew up, his homeland. That would be a natural thing for any parent. Then they claimed that they had reached out to the Duke of Duchess of Sussex for comment. They didn't say anything more. So as I say, I am convinced that this is a story that has been briefed out of Montecito. There's a lot of background here talking about the fact that it is 4 years since Meghan's last UK visit. That was, of course, when Queen Elizabeth II passed away. And they do reference the fact that during that time, they were booed. But then we get to the briefing from Meghan. And again, I would argue this is very emotionally manipulative, and she's now trying to gaslight the British population the same way she gaslights her husband. Because Bronte Coy reports this will be Meghan's first high-profile return since the late Queen's funeral. But the insider insisted she had no concerns about her reception there. Meghan's strong and much more resilient than people give her credit for. She's had to grow the thickest of skin to deal with the daily barrage of unnecessary and frankly dangerous hate that is spread about her. But Meghan loves the UK and knows that the vast, vast majority of people are reasonable, rational, and good. So I want to respond directly to Meghan about this. You don't love the UK, woman. If you did love the UK, one of your last words on the way out to that little bastard Omid Scobie would not have been that you were never going to come back. So you don't love the UK. If things had been successful in California, you would never have returned. We all know that. And yes, you are correct. The vast, vast majority of people in the United Kingdom are reasonable, rational, and good. And we don't forgive you for going on Netflix and describing us all as racist, for voting for Brexit. We don't forgive you for describing the late Queen, the current King, the future Queen, Catherine, as racist. So stop with the gaslighting. News.com.au goes on to say recently it's become increasingly clear that Harry wants to spend more time with his father, who is living with cancer, following a challenging few years after his abrupt royal exit. Both Harry and Meghan have opened up about their strange relationships with members of his family. Again, that is the understatement of the century. The big question, of course, is who's paying for this? Are we? Seriously, is my taxpayer money going to pay for this? Despite the objections of the future king, Prince William, and his wife, Catherine? If so, I want to know about it. And as Bronte Coy sums up, given Harry's previous hardline stance on their security, it therefore seems likely that either something has changed with his protection arrangement or that a royal invitation has in fact been extended. Now, according to Taz, makes the point that actually, once again, Harry and Meghan are making this event veterans of Invictus, writing, using the Invictus 1 Year to Go event to finally bring Meghan and the kids over. This will make the entire event about the Harry and Meghan show. It will again not be about the veterans and will center around Meghan being brave, Meghan's resilience, and everything that she has endured and overcome at an event for veterans who have had life-changing injuries. I also don't believe for 1 second that the kids will be coming or on camera. So Tash, this was a bombshell today, typically dropped at that moment that William and Catherine are at Royal Ascot and have to go out and face the cameras, as internally they will be absolutely raging.
This, to me, is Camp Montecito. It's got their fingerprints all over it. Even I've already started seeing, funnily enough, those buzzwords appearing. Meghan's resilience. You know, Meghan is such a resilient person. She's not bothered about the booing. She's not bothered about that. So it's already beginning to happen. And I just see this as a rinse and repeat. Harry has been laying the path, as it were, recently, where he has been saying about he wants to come back, he wants his children to see. And it's all again about public manipulation of his father using the children, manipulation, trying to get the security. I have my personal feelings on this. My personal beliefs are the children will not come. Meghan is not going to give up the power that she has by playing the games that she does with hiding the children. What this has done has taken headlines away from the Prince and Princess of Wales at Ascot, especially for Catherine, because she doesn't often go to Ascot anyway due to horse allergies. But of course, this is her first return, which is quite big. It's quite major after her health battle. And it's perfectly timed. And again, I cannot help but feel this is just more media games, because today, everybody is talking about Harry and Meghan's return, Archie and Lily coming to the UK, mainstream media, global media, social media. It is trending. Harry and Meghan have just played the game again. They do it every single year. Harry's going to bring the children over this year. Harry's going to take the children over to the Invictus Games. He never does. I think that Meghan will come, but I do not believe that the children will come. She's not going to give up the games that she plays, because if they're going to make it now that the children are coming with them, what are they going to do? Hide them in a hotel room? And I also don't believe...
And they're going to be like Michael Jackson. Do you remember when he used to come to the UK and he'd take the kids to Harrods, but they'd all be in masks?
Yeah.
It's like, that's the weirdness that these two have created.
But it's exactly that. And this is also why I do not believe that the royal family are behind this. I do not believe that the royal family are behind this. Maybe there has been a conversation between Harry and the king about bringing the children over. Like you said, perhaps there has been an extension of a royal invite, and that's why adequate security is going to be provided. But again, this just makes Harry and Meghan look like huge hypocrites, bringing the children over to get them to, you know, basically to show them to the world, to show them on a silver platter, serve them up on a silver platter, as it were, again. And it's also completely overshadowing the reason why Harry is meant to be there, and that is the Invictus Games. And that's another reason why they have done it. They are trying to drum up interest. People weren't interested in Harry coming in a couple of weeks' time. People are now interested. People weren't talking about Harry coming over for the 1 year to go event. People are now talking about it. It's all one big game, and I watch people fall for it every time. I will eat my shoe if those children appear at the Invictus Games event alongside Harry. Honestly, I do not believe it.
Well, there is a lot of speculation today, Tash, that this is part of Project Thor that Richard Eden has been reporting on. And there definitely did seem to be some coordination in terms of how the news was broken. And definitely Harry and Meghan are using Australian journalists who are far more sympathetic to their messaging. We saw that over their recent tour. And it was this woman called Bronte Coy. She's an Australian based in London. And what was so interesting is that this story was all lined up, and Tom Sykes of the Royalists was standing by in the Sun newsroom in order to immediately elevate the story. Now, I think Tom Sykes is great, but it did seem coordinated because he immediately headlined and gave a lot of credibility to the scoop by saying Bronte Coy breaks royal exclusive of the year. I'm about to go on the Sun's podcast, and Bronte Coy is hosting with a monster exclusive. So it was all timed, Tash, for Royal Ascot Day, overshadowing Catherine and William, and for the fact that Bronte Coy was hosting the Sun's podcast, Royal Exclusive, because their usual royal editor was away. Now, Tom has a very strong take on this, which is that King Charles is absolutely behind it. He wrote, the framing offered as Harry's great sadness at being able to bring his wife and children to his home country, and cast the visit as a father wanting to show his children where he grew up and to introduce them to his wider family, the sort of thing it is suggested any parent would want. Meghan has not set foot in Britain since September 2022. That trip remains the single occasion on which the king has met his Sussex grandchildren. Now, Tom goes on to say that this is the undoing of Megxit. Megxit being reversed. So he really does believe in the fact that the royal family is in some way in on this. Watch, Tash, and then I'll get you to respond.
Let's be very clear what is happening here. This is the undoing of Megxit. This is the end. This is the nullification of the Sandringham Summit. This is the half in, half out dream that Harry and Meghan have pursued for 6 years in complete defiance of what Queen Elizabeth warned them about, of what Queen Elizabeth recommended. This is it coming to fruition. I can see all your comments saying they need money, they need this, they need that. They do. Of course they do. But what concerns me is that King Charles is allowing this to happen. This is the problem at the heart of this reign, is the weakness of King Charles, the fact that he is rolling over and allowing this to happen, that these people have, frankly, completely insulted the crown. Harry wrote a very lengthy book. Well, I'm sorry, Marlene, but they've got half in, half out. We don't like it. You may not like it. The public may not like it, but Charles doesn't appear to care.
And he then said that there is actually a massive risk in King Charles going against his people with this type of decision.
The king is acting in defiance of his subjects at this stage, and people do not want this. This is going to be massively unpopular, and any attempt to say that this is happening without the consent of the king and without the blessing of the king is not going to wash. How can King Charles stop them travelling to the UK? Well, very simple, by doing exactly what they've done for the last 6 years, by not extending them all bells, all whistles security. And they have made this rod, they have created this trap for themselves very, very conveniently for the royal family. They talked themselves and backed themselves into this particular corner, saying that they would not be able to come home unless they were given the full whack security. I think we have to conclude that they have been given the security. I think we have to conclude that this is now a fait accompli.
Now, Tash, that is such an interesting point, isn't it? Because remember, just a few days ago, Harry and Meghan were still briefing that the reason Meghan and the children were not going to come is because there had been no change in the security arrangement. So Tom Sykes doesn't have confirmation of it, but is just saying, well, surely it has changed, which then would suggest that in some way the king may have stepped in, because Ravik was absolutely clear earlier this year.
They do get security. They just need to give 30 days notice. And then a decision is made of how much security that they need. So I don't think it's that surprising that if Harry and Meghan have put in a request saying we will be bringing the children, it would have been assessed and dealt with by the police. But with Tom saying that, the king should be, changing things so that Harry and Meghan can't come because it makes him look complicit, he's going against the people. I'm sorry. Everybody knows that the whole reason why Harry has been fighting against his father is because the king and the queen before him, Queen Elizabeth II, have no decisions over the security with Ravik. That is dealt outside of the palace. So for Tom to now be saying, the king could be involved in it, he could restrict, the bells and whistles, as it were, and don't put on such a big security thing for him. Well, you're going against what everybody knows already, that it's actually the police that make that decision. Harry will get security. He's always had security. He has just to give 30 days notice. And the other thing, Tom Sykes, I have read some of his stuff, but he was also very convinced that Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie would not be going to Peter Philip's wedding. And whilst he was given that information from sources, and I'm sure he does have reliable sources, that doesn't mean all of his sources are going to be correct. And again, what this does is this turns people against the king. It makes people angry at the king because they think he is going against Prince William and Catherine. He's allowing this. He's encouraging Harry. It's the same game plan that I'm seeing month after month. And I just do not believe that the king would be involved with trying to do anything that could damage the future of the monarchy, with given how long it took him to become king, obviously. And then also he loves Catherine and he loves his son, Prince William. I do not believe that he would be risking his relationships or the future of the monarchy or the reputation of the monarchy with regards to the public, which, as we know, because of various recent things that have gone on and certain members in that family, it's been a real tightrope to walk on. He's not going to suddenly go, right, throw everything to the wind. Let's get Harry and Meghan back. I just do not believe it. I just think that this is a push, like we've got Richard Eden saying Operation Thor. I think this is Operation Piss the Public Off against the royal family again by feeding into Harry and Meghan's narrative.